Alright, so as promised, this is the lift that I'm gonna be using. So you could buy one like that from Harbor Freight. You could also buy a whole bunch of these on Amazon, and so I've gone with Amazon. This is actually a second one. The first one that they shipped to me was damaged. This control box actually broke off. And, anyways, so the way this works is that this is operated off 120 volts. If you look at YouTube tutorials on how to install a rooftop tent by yourself, a lot of people actually use this exact thing. They jerry-rig this 2x4 contraption to lift it and attach it to like the eave of the garage. Well, I don't have a garage, nor do I have a place where I could mount this. So I've actually come up with, in my opinion, pretty interesting solution. Mind you that this is only going to be done once, so I don't really want to spend any of my time doing that. So let me go to the back of my property and show you what I'm going to do there. Okay. So this strap is going to be changed out for a shorter one. I didn't measure the tree distance properly. I measured it on the bottom, and this tree is actually leaning, and either way I guess I have a crooked eye. So today I'm supposed to be getting a shorter strap from Amazon, but the way that works is in the tree, and you could, again, everything that I'm talking about is found on Amazon. They make D-ring bolts, screws, and everything that screw into trees and lumber and all sorts of things to hang just about anything. A lot of people hang swinging sets and everything like that. So today I'm gonna be changing the strap for a shorter one. As you see, it's kind of drooping. The other one is like 2 feet shorter, so it's gonna be way higher. And the goal, by the way, if you're doing this, make sure you're not gonna fall off the ladder, because danger factor goes up, as you might imagine. You could kind of sort of see it there. There we go. That's what that looks like. So this is meant to be on a one-time thing. I actually used an impact wrench to put that in, and this specific model of the D-ring and a screw, once you take the D-ring off, you could actually put a socket on top of it, and that's why I was able to get it in there. And if you need some guidance on what to do, get yourself a drill and drill just past the bark in the tree so that you could then start screwing the darn thing in. But the goal with this is hang the engine, not the engine, the winch, trying to hide from the sun, here using soft shackles, recovery shackles. I'm sure if you put in a rooftop tent, you already know what soft shackles are, or I guess you could use hard shackles as well, but either way, so that I could hang the winch off of it. And then I'm gonna be running a generator to crank this puppy up, and it's going to, so the trailer that I showed yesterday is going to be wheeled back here. I'm going to lift the tent to some height, just enough to pull the trailer out, and then I'm gonna lower it, and then I'm gonna back my truck in and raise this and back the truck and put it on top of the truck at that point. So I wish I had better news. It has been quite some time since the last update on this project. Word of advice: don't buy from Ocam 4x4 in Australia unless you live in Australia. The package for the camper shell reinforcement brackets, they sold it as something that's in stock, and it wasn't in stock. It took them like a month to actually find it in stock, despite the fact that they have multiple stores in Australia that allegedly have it in stock. I have no idea how this all works, but whatever. Then it took like 3 weeks to go on a ship to the port in New York City somewhere, and that was November the 23rd of 2024, and then it just got lost. So for sake of clarity, right now is middle of December. I believe it's like December 14th or thereabouts. So yes, after going through USPS claims and this and that and the third, basically nobody knows where it is. The claim process has started, and it's just a long, drawn-out process, because on top of just the complexity of package reimbursement, there's the topic of being in completely different parts of the planet and time zones, and by the time I send an email and they take to respond, it's already been another 24 hours and another 24 hours in any event. So this has been sitting on the trailer all this time, covered it in tarp. I got a new strap. This is the old one over here. The new one is like a foot shorter, and while I wish it was even shorter than that, I guess it's better than nothing, honestly. So, but other than being covered in tarp, this just hasn't really moved. I think it's very unfortunate. I just placed another order, this time directly through Milford, which is the company that makes the brackets, to hopefully receive it. Now on the thing it said it should take 34 days to get here, so I guess I'll be waiting for it sometime in middle of January. Now I have thought long and hard about what my options are. Hypothetically speaking, what it would cost for me to order another camper shell or buy another camper shell. There seems to be a lot of fancy pants camper shells that cost $1 bazillion, and there's a whole bunch of knockoffs that you could buy, and the cost is just so prohibitive. It's just sickening. Like, whatever. So this is kind of the update so far. Still sitting in the box, covered in tarp, yada yada yada. Alright, so getting closer to install all this thing. So this is my electric lift. I have my Jackery power station over there. The goal, because this is 120 volt, is to basically plug it into power station, yada yada yada. So my idea is to take this trailer and basically back it out, or back it in rather, over there in between the trees. But before that happens, I need to take this very heavy lift. I have no idea what the heck this thing is made of, but it is heavy as hell. And I am a man enough to admit that this is way beyond my comfort level, for a couple of reasons. One of which is I have to get it over there, and so not a fan. Absolutely not a fan. I have to think about whether I want to take this lift and up the stairs and then thread it through the cable over there, and then just let it self-center in the middle. Or take this off, bring it down, thread it through the rings over there on the top, and then one stair at a time while holding this craziness while it's being dangled off the cable. I don't know, I have to cogitate on that in a minute. I'm not okay with either one of those options, but this is like gotta do it kind of deal. So my goal is, after I install the crane and after I connect the power station to the crane, obviously, is to use straps to lift this and raise it, take this trailer out, and then take my pickup truck and back it in, and then lower the darn thing, and at that particular time slide the rooftop tent locking mechanisms up here into the slots, and then probably pull the top off, like all the way out, or off rather, and see where my tent needs to be in relationship to everything. And that's more to do with getting the top portion of these in the right place, because theoretically I could center it however I want, but I still want to be able, if need be, my top, if I'm not mistaken, it ends like right about here somewhere. Nonetheless, I'm gonna take a little break now, go do other things just to clear my mind, and then come back to it, rejuvenate it, and hopefully get this thing installed. So, on a different note, something to report. The mechanism for Milton doohickey over here leaks. Let me explain to you why and what specifically is happening. Just navigate over there first. So if you're this far into the video, then you have obviously seen how this thing is installed. So there's studs. Well, this is a better example right there. See what's happening? See a bit of rust in there? Right? Right there. And so what I did was that over there. It has rained relatively hard. Oh, so same thing on the other side too. So it has rained hard, like an inch or so, with the storm that we got. And what that means is that the top of that stud obviously isn't rainproof, for obvious reasons. There's no plug that came with the kit, nothing of the sort. So if you do have to install this kit for any reason other than a rooftop tent, you might want to plug the stud on the top side. I'm talking about roof side over there. I think what I'll do is, after I take my little break, actually plug the holes either with electrical tape or something. I'm talking about right there, or wherever they are, there-ish, just so I don't have to worry about it in the future. And then I'll deal with the rooftop tent and all this other stuff. But get in there. So I'm sitting here on the tailgate, contemplating my rather poor choices in judgment. You have no idea how difficult it was to get this sucker hung. It's a huge pain in the keister. That's what that is. So the the motor, I guess you could call it the motor, is really heavy. Like, I don't know what the hell they put in that thing. Maybe it's the windings and the whole, who knows what the hell that is. As you might imagine, to get it all the way up high, I had to figure out a way how to get it all the way up high. So at first I tried to use one of the straps, just like this one, to lift up on the other strap, which is why you see it over there tied up like that. Once I got to the top, I was like, uh-oh, this isn't going to work, because as I'm dangling precariously on the ladder, every single time the wind blows, the ladder just goes. So I decided that, and mind you, like, this is me holding the tow rope with one hand with load on it, while trying to wrap the tow strap around the ladder and tie it off. And so one of the ends was still hung to the D-ring over there. So as I'm doing this, I got all the way to the top, and I'm like, there's no way I could get it on the little D-ring on the actual tree. The anchor has a very, very small D-ring. So for example, this tow strap with a shackle over here, or whatever this is, wouldn't, it was my mistake on my part not to have put some form of larger anchor in there. So I had to lower the darn thing all the way to the ground, go downstairs over here, get one of the orange straps, ratchet straps, tie it around the end loop on one of the tow straps. As I'm pulling, basically, once I got to the top, I had to put it through the D-ring, so that at this point my one end on the tow strap is now connected to the D-ring on the tree, and I couldn't get the actual hook to clip on the D-ring. I had to do like this maneuver between the toes. So anyways, as I'm standing there with the wind blowing, my neighbor from a house down, among with their friends, are just sitting there laughing their asses off, probably for the right reasons, because this is really stupid. This is totally my fault for even concocting this thing, but is what it is. So the lesson learned is that if you ever have to hang this motor, take all the safety precautions to tie it off multiple times to multiple places, figure out a way how to get it there. It is tough. You know, like on the ground, if I'm just guessing, this is probably like 40 pounds, maybe 50-ish, which isn't that heavy. But imagine standing 16 feet up with the wind blowing, with not holding the motor. So my other option was to take the motor all the way up to the ladder, right? And then using a ratchet, basically undo the top pieces on the motor, put the strap right through it. But the thing is, this ladder isn't designed to support yourself plus something else. Like, there's no... Anyways, I don't want to get myself more wound up than I already am. So I'm sitting here, it's now hung. This was a one-time kind of thing that I needed to do. The tow strap and the whole thing is coming down, so I'm gonna have to re-engineer this thing in reverse when the time comes. So as you see, there's an orange strap in there. So what I need to do now is climb back up, take this yellow strap over there, down, move the ladder over there, take another strap and basically put it through the D-ring in the same way that I did there. So this is just a additionary safety measure that it's not really going to hold anything. It's just in case that the anchors from the trees are going to rip out and this whole thing is going to catastrophically go south. Before it does, I hope I'm not in that role. I'm not afraid of the heights. I'm a mountain goat when it comes to scaling anything that has a cliff, but it is a very uncomfortable feeling being 16 feet up, holding this heavy weight, trying to get... So to get you an idea, if you look at this hole right there, like where the strap is, right, like this hole, that's how big this hole is on the anchor all the way over there. So let me climb up in there and show you better, because it's just complete madness. So another thing that I've discovered, obviously, I'm gonna need an extension cord of sorts, because the actual wire isn't long enough. Which the great irony is the remote control joystick thing has this ginormous cord, but the actual cord to plug this in, not so much. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to deal with this. And the goal, as I said, I need to move this further out this way, to center it and everything. And then this gets backed up. I don't know if I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna have to look at the clock and see what we're dealing with. I've also spent so much of my energy trying to do this. It's truly terrifying. So this is the other strap that I used to basically clip with this, well, with the other hook, but you get the point, to that ring right there, to lift all of this from the ground all the way here. Mind you, this is like 50 pounds, 50 pounds. It probably says right there on it how much it weighs. Let me see. I don't know. I don't know what it says. Anyways. And then, as I'm pulling this up, loop it right through there to give myself some sort of anchor. Once I had enough tow strap, fling it around the tree and tie it off. So this is what I had to clip to. And mind you, through this little D-ring, I had to clip this, unclip that, while holding the weight, and while I had the straps. Now, if you notice, I have a strap in there. I can't get it out, which is the reason why I took the strap and wrapped it around the tree. And the strap isn't going anywhere until it's time to remove the darn thing. So, my next phase is to move the ladder and tie off the top portion right there. Well, you know what they say, go big or go home, right? So here I am. Obviously this thing isn't being installed on my Jeep today. However, at a bare minimum, what I would like to do is get it off the trailer and test this whole thing out. So it's not really supposed to be super fancy schmancy. My goal is to lift this up just high enough to basically drive the trailer out and then lower it to the ground. So this is what that is, right? Jackery power station. The fancy remote, the lack of extension cord, I figure it's probably going to be unbalanced. I don't know in what way. So just to get you an idea of how I'm gonna do that, it's clearly trying to find that spot. I'm not gonna be able to. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can. But either way, my goal is to lift this up and drive out. So let's see. Trying to find a spot for the So it is obviously very heavily imbalanced to the front. I expected that because of the shocks over here. So I have to figure out a way how to do it in the safest way possible. Easier said than done. Alright, well, I'll get back to you. Alright, so after some cursing and whatever. So here's what I've learned in this little brouhaha. This thing kind of sort of works, but not really. So reason being, as you might see, trees are points in different ways and whatever. And so the way this is hanging off the thing, it's not anchored to anything. Like this is supposed, those metal pieces over there are supposed to be anchored to like a 2x4 or something like that. So on that merit, every time you try to lift it, does this number. And when it does this number, the metal wire hits the stopper, and that's when it stops. Obviously not a good situation. So it more or less have found its center. but I had to like massage it, and as you see, it's like off the trailer in this way. So its center in this configuration is like right where it is. My main goal was to obviously get it off the trailer, which is what's happening now. Not particularly proud of how it looks, but it is what it is. It's I don't know if it's like balanced. The only way I could really test is by raising it just a smidge. So what I had to do, I had to take a second strap and wrap it around the 2x4 to provide it additional kind of frontal support. So as mentioned previously, I couldn't really do anything per se. Oh, look at this. This isn't even like under. So the weight of 2x4 is what's keeping it straightish. The problem is the center of the tent is like right there, right? And for me to have a strap going through right there, I'd have to remove the shock. And I don't want to be removing anything. The other option would be to raise it by every single one of these around the tent, which I don't want to be doing either. My goal was to just raise it, is what it is, right? So with the lift, it's actually very easy. I'm sure in the future I'm gonna develop something to make it really easy, because the whole point of this is to basically put it on top of the Jeep and then very quickly and easily remove it. If not in this location, then I'm gonna engineer something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive the trailer out, and then I'm gonna lower this to the ground, and I'm just gonna call it a day. It's been a long day for me to deal with this. I don't need to be putting myself into a bigger problem right now, because what needs to happen is I need to lift this, and it needs to go right there, and it's just additional everything. So yeah, I have no idea whether this is tall enough to even go on the Jeep. As I'm looking at it, I'm not particularly impressed, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I suppose. Other than retying the straps and somehow shortening them, which I probably could do somehow. My goal is to also remove the 2x4s out of it, because I don't need them on the roof. But I'll have to play with it tomorrow and just... So as mentioned previously, Jackery done a pretty good job. So I've been going up and down. I'm not even sure how much electricity it consumed. I know Jackeries are a beast. So let's see. 99%. So for going up and down a whole bunch of times, it has functionally consumed only 1%. So good stuff. But need to raise it just a smidge. And then just drive out. Anyways, had to do some engineering. This thing keeps turning in the wind, so had to wrap a little strap up here so that it doesn't keep, I don't want it to twist in any way. So like this is a prime example of what it's doing. Because this isn't anchored in any kind of meaningful way, the guide wire, the metal wire, hits the stopper thing and it immediately cuts it off. Either way, to get out of here, I had to disconnect this, left the jackery all by itself. My goal is to park the trailer, and with sun setting down, mosey on home, lower this to the ground, and then, yeah. So let me see if I could repeat this thing, hopefully without the sun hitting the you're gonna have to trust me on this. I'm assuming there's some level of waterproofness to this. It's not supposed to rain. But who knows? At the very least, with a lot of things done so far, I'm gonna be able to hopefully tackle this tomorrow with some vigor. The problem is, like, even lowering it, right now it's more or less self-centered, but as I was going up, it hit the darn thing again. So going down, it doesn't prevent you from going down, but going up is what my problem is. So I'm guessing tomorrow, without the trailer, I'll just back in and lift this up and hopefully get it in there. I didn't install brackets today. I was tempted to do it. In retrospect, I probably should have, but so what's gonna happen tomorrow with respect to the brackets and whatnot? Oh, before I forget, I need to turn this off. There we go. It's like a double whammy with this. The brackets need to align to that stuff over there, right? Let me grab one just to demonstrate. Okay, good. There we go. So the way that works is these two pieces, which unfortunately I can't bolt and tighten until it sits in the rail. So that kind of, there we go. It would slide like so, boom. That piece over here goes like that, and then boom, right? So as you see, this is all wobbly, but the thing is, once it's in the rail, it's actually sitting there permanently. And because on of the four corners, it puts just the right amount of tension on this thing. So what I'm gonna do tomorrow is I'm gonna slide these into the rail when I have my rooftop tent high enough. It's also entirely conceivable that my little contraption over here doesn't lift the stand tall enough, which means I'm gonna have to engineer a solution for that, which I really hope I don't have to. It would have been far easier had I not installed these, because I could just slide it. But anyways, so this is how that mechanism works. And then, where I was getting with this is, once I slide this and the tent is more or less on top of the vehicle, not necessarily clipped like this, I'm gonna have to adjust the tent backwards and forwards, which means that I can't really tighten it. And then I'm gonna have to engineer a solution on how to tighten the bolts and the nuts, and I'll probably like drive back half a foot or something, or I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because I need to tighten. This one is easy to tighten. This one over here is like there, and that's a problem area for me in terms of putting any kind of wrench in there. So one day closer to, I guess, completion, I hope. Maybe, hopefully. Honestly, considering how much time I've already sunk into this, like on the scale of 1 through pissing me off, this is way beyond really frustrating me. Not because it takes so much time, but because it's been like, when you watch this stuff on YouTube, people are like, oh yeah, I've installed it, and then it's like bam. Well, but nobody actually talks about just how much pain in the ass it is to install this stuff. Anywho, hopefully tomorrow. And there's a bunch of other things going on. So there's a shower room, which is going to be used probably just for changing. Well, I take that back. I do have the shower. So there's also the moon shade. I opted out to get that instead of a 270-degree awning, because moonshade could be deployed on either side. And as a matter of fact, if I like it enough, I might actually get a second one, maybe even 3. Who knows? But certainly 1. But that's after I deal with this stuff. So fingers crossed. Alright, well, curiosity got the better of me, so I decided to come out here and investigate a little bit. So I am still not installing this today, just kind of doing some recon. So first and foremost, to address, this is the issue that I was talking about before. So because that is all cattywampus over there, it's so it's off on a couple of axes. It's off on this axis, as you could see, and it's not like leveling properly. Obviously, because this up here is the center of where the weight is, and it's also off on the other axis, simply because, well, that's how the thing is off. So I had to even get it up this high, had to pull the tent as I was raising it. So a couple of things that I've learned is, obviously it's not high enough to reach for the top of the truck. So that's something that I'm gonna have to address. Second thing that I'm gonna have to address is logistics, because the 2x4s would have to come out, but I could probably figure out how to deal with it at the time, right? What I'm losing in terms of height is like right there. See how it's lost right from there to, so I have to figure out a way how to safely, that's the key word, do this. So I figure if I could lose this somehow without damaging the top of the rooftop tent in process, I'm gonna get it up probably by however is that distance, which probably will get me right where I need to get, I hope. I still have yet to measure it. I'm about to lower it and measure it, but before I do, so a couple of things I needed to do as well. I slid the brackets over here. They're still not, in any way, shape, or form secured, but at least this way they are there, and I'll. So here's what I've learned. Distance between whereabouts that versus whereabouts this is about 49 inches, and I'm just eyeballing. So this means with the tent being 80 inches long ish or thereabouts, the distance between those have to be 4 feet. But also this means if I was to, let's say, slide this, so the distance between here and there is about 7 inches, which means try not to never walk under the load. So the distance between there and about there is about 7 inches. This folds back. I still need to fold it back and actually measure properly, because what I would like to do is move the tent as far as I can this way, because with that being 4 feet over here, man, this out of focus phone is pissing me off, but it means that it's gonna hang about 28 inches or so this way, which is still within the tailgate, but it's just gonna look stupid. So when the time comes, if I could get it a little bit more trim, if I could help it, that would be super duper. Theoretically speaking, if I never open the top of my truck, I could actually center it properly so that the tent would be, whatever is the distance, you know what I mean. So I still need to take that away, but I'm not gonna deal with it until I actually need to install the tent. But lessons learned. Still not happy about this crane, but at least it does what it needs to do. Now I just need to figure out a way how to do it better, if that makes any sense. What I need to do now is grab my tape measure and figure out what the distances are. So let me you know what, let me cut back to another clip. Alright, well, I've done some measuring. So the highest this goes is about 63 inches. The top of this over there is 77, which means that I have a differential of about 14. This over here, from the very top all the way to the hook, is about 20 inches. So theoretically, I could gain about 14 inches here. The problem is I have to figure out a way how to do it properly. I rigged this in such a way to just get it off the trailer without putting too much emphasis in it. So I have to somehow, the thing is, like, I don't want to damage my tent. I find that incredibly challenging to do. I have to engineer it somehow, some way to actually do it. I just don't know how. I thought about using like rope and just doing this number, but rope is going to start digging into the tent, which will probably leave. If this is aluminum, as they say it is, the problem is I can't change this. Like, if this could be hung an extra however higher, but it's just not gonna happen. I put the anchors in the trees as high as I could while standing there. So I don't know. I'll leave it for another week or so before I actually get to install this. But just wanted to test. But at the very least, I could theoretically, with this height, get it on there. Maybe, possibly. Alright, well, I'm resorting to plan B. So as you see, there's a way to double up this thing and double its capacity or some other nonsense like that. So this over here has height to it, right? And so when you double it like this, aside from the fact that it doubles capacity and all this other jazz, it should theoretically start pulling on this side, which means that it should theoretically balance itself out between that. And as you can see, there's two wires that go down, and the piece that came with it I just realized something. This thing wobbles. I mean, it's very sturdy, but like, it's, see what it does? That's why it feels unstable, despite the fact that it's not. So I'm guessing with it doubling like this, I should be able to lift this high enough to actually get it on the pickup truck without, I could be wrong, I'm about to test out that theory. Need to get the ladder off, need to center this with the pulley and everything like that, and hopefully, if I'm super duper lucky, I don't have to modify anything, because I really don't want to be spending my time modifying anything. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna demonstrate to you how this works. So as you see, it's rubbing there because this thing is cattywampus, but at least now you know how that looks. So let me go ahead and lift this up and see what I'm dealing with. Alright, well, unfortunately doing that didn't do anything at all. Not impressed. Not impressed at all. Raised it to the same height, really. Although it was far more balanced but it's still not, like, it's balanced this way but not balanced that way. So it looks like I'm gonna have to engineer something somehow. I just don't know how. Well, I got a whole week to think about it. Another day, another sunset. Just don't have enough time to work on this. As soon as I get home, it starts getting dark. But what I have been able to do is I've taken a 2x4 and used straps with foam that actually came with the rooftop tent. And using the straps, I tied it in 3 places. And then I've taken the strap that came with 2 straps actually that came with the lift itself. One I wrapped around the 2x4, and the other 2, well, actually it's more like 1, to provide some balance. I very seriously doubt that it will have any impact. I know it's heavy on that side. I'm tempted to put a counterbalance on this side and just ditch the strap entirely. But the goal is to minimize the amount of triangle lift that I showed in previous video clips. My goal is to hopefully minimize, like you could see how, like, this is where that is. So the only thing that's going to stretch now would be these, and they're fairly tight. Each one is rated, I think, for like 1,500 pounds, or maybe 400, I don't know, maybe 800, but either way it's way overpowered for this kind of thing. So my goal is to, when the time comes, is to lift this, right? But also for this contraption over here, as you see, it's drooping. So the strap, the ratchet strap that goes between that hook, and that's going through the 2 holes over there, is coming. My goal is to climb that tree, and then take this ladder and then put it on top of the tent, or as close as I can to it. Put the strap through the metal. You could kind of see them like there and there, and then also to that hook over there, and then tighten the ratchet strap. So basically the thing that I ordered is rated like this, but it looks like that sort of thing. That's what truckers use to secure their cargo. So one thing that I've noticed about this lift, which I am not particularly happy about, the way it's designed is it's supposed to be spooling back under load. And the literal second you allow it to spool back with no load, it does this number over there. I guess when the time comes, I'll just hang something off of it or something. I don't know, enough of it has unspooled, or maybe I need to set some tension, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. It's the same thing with all winches. That's what this design functionally is. It's a winch. But my goal is to hopefully lift this as high as I could. Like, let's say, I don't need to go super high, but as high as I can. And then hopefully this over here is going to help me in the process. So I'm gonna save it for the weekend. Today is a Tuesday as I'm filming this, so I still have enough time. And you know, my goal is to do as much as I can before the weekend so that I could actually do what needs to be done on the weekend and finally get this thing done. This whole saga started like 3 months ago, time-wise. Yeah. A lot of lessons learned. Those of you that are watching, I hope that you have an opportunity to learn from this. This is kind of sort of why I'm posting this. You know, in hindsight, I wish I had the courage to drill this way higher and way higher. But honestly, when you dangle there on the last step and have to sway in the wind with a tree going like this, and no. Anyways. But this is it. The benefit to removing the two 2x4s is that now I have the track opened up for the brackets. So once I place it on the pickup truck, it's not going to be impeded by the 2x4s. Although I may need to put the 2x4s on my pickup truck this way. Basically like vertically like that, to rest the tent on top of it. Maybe. All depends on what I'm dealing with. Like if this dangles comfortably above the truck, maybe not that big of a deal. My goal is to secure the brackets underneath of it tight enough that it will actually do what it needs to do and hold. So, but anyway, moving along in the process. Alright, so as I'm dangling here precariously, like a complete moron, again, this is kind of the thing that I was going for. So my first problem was that this hook was flipped the other way around, which if you're gonna do something like that, make sure, I mean, granted in your case it might be a different thing, but in my case, this was on the bottom, which means that I wouldn't have been able to clip this to it. So what did I do? I ordered the 27-foot 2-inch ratchet strap, and I connected it over there, put it through the same exact holes over there, and as you can see, it took this much slack out of the whole contraption. Now, despite the fact that I'm not afraid of the heights, I just want you to understand this is a 16-foot ladder, so I'm taking all the precautions that I can, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So my goal for this weekend is to hopefully put this on my truck when I'm not dealing with other issues around my house, but those are unrelated to this video, so I'll save you the time. All in all, clearly I've taken out quite a bit of slack. Original distance that I needed to raise was about 14 inches, I hope. I was successful just with the strap alone, plus this whole contraption that I did over there. So I'm hoping to be floating on top of the pickup truck with some distance to spare. Theoretically speaking, I could probably crank this a couple more times, but the way I ow, mosquito, the way I did this, I didn't put tension on the strap as I was ratcheting in to begin with. So what that means is that the spool is getting full, if you know what I mean, right there. So I don't, you know what, not even gonna bother. My goal is to get the tent on the thing, and then this whole thing is going to, that being said, I might have to engineer something to get it down from here, because there's going to be two things. There's going to be this guy over here, and plus there's going to be that guy over here. Now this I could probably get the tension off, although dealing with regular ratchet straps, usually when you undo them there's quite a bit of tension, if you know what I mean. So we'll cross that bridge once we get to it. But for time being, this is what it is. And as you can see, it is blowing wind, and so standing here, if you know what I mean. So before I put myself into the danger territory, I'm just gonna get down the ladder. Alright, so this is the video from bottom of this, just to get you an idea. And as you can see, it actually raised quite a bit. Probably a couple of feet if I had to guess. Maybe less, I don't know. It looks substantial to me. So, hopefully, maybe tomorrow.